So here's a little fun fact. This movie came out just 2 weeks before I actually started reviewing movies on YouTube. This channel was created in 2013, but I officially started reviewing movies on my old channel in late June of 2012. And if I had reviewed this movie back then, my opinion compared to now would have been completely different. Prometheus came out in 2012 and marks the return of Ridley Scott to the Alien franchise. This one takes place about 30 years before the events of Alien and follows a group of scientists who find a cave painting that one of them says is a star map, where this creator, or engineers as they're referred to as, is inviting humans to this planet to try to make contact with them. So a group of scientists funded by the Wayland Company heads to the planet to meet the engineers, but things might be a little more dangerous and unpredictable than this group of people originally thought. In an Alien movie? No. No way. That can't never happen. So like I said in my Alien Resurrection review, I will be skipping the Alien vs. Predator movies and jumping right into Prometheus because I don't feel right reviewing those movies unless I reviewed the Predator movies. But if I could just briefly jump back to the AVP movies for just a second, one of the biggest things that these movies failed at was that Fox seemed like they didn't have much faith in these movies. Each of them were given a limited budget, and none of them featured A-list actors in this movie. Which is confusing considering that both the Alien and Predator movies have spawned A-list actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sigourney Weaver, Bill Paxton, among others. So that, among many other things, are why everyone hates those movies. So when Prometheus came out, it was one of the most anticipated movies of the year it came out, along with The Hobbit, The Dark Knight Rises, and The Avengers. And what made me really excited for this movie was that Fox seemed like they had faith again, because this movie was given a budget of around $130 million, and an A-list director back in the director's chair. Even though Ridley Scott has admittedly had a very mixed career as a director, you could definitely say he's a better director than Paul W.S. Anderson and the brothers Strauss. And then it had a bunch of A-list actors in the role. Noomi Rapace, Michael Fassbender, Idris Elba, Guy Pearce, and Charlize Theron. So you could tell right away that it was getting a lot of really careful treatment and was going to be one of the big movies of the summer. Not just some cheap, rushed thing that nobody really seemed to care about. Well, at the time, we thought that. And at the time, I loved this movie. I thought it looked amazing. I liked all the performances. I liked the music. And I loved the overall world building and how it's just another movie within the Alien universe that doesn't focus on the xenomorphs. I loved it. But that was 5 years ago. My opinion on Prometheus has just switched from, oh my god, I love this movie, it's amazing, to it's okay. When the movie first came out, people were split on it. Some people liked it, some people thought it was okay, and then people hated it. And those that hated it would not shut up about how much they hated it. Like, they made a point of pointing out every little thing wrong with the movie, to the point where it kind of got to be a little nitpicky. Because I like to look at a movie as a whole. I don't like to look at little tiny individual things, and now, if they bug me, I'll point it out, but on the whole, I'll judge a movie just on everything, the big picture. And watching Prometheus again, I just think it's really mediocre. I don't hate it, but I would never today say that I love this movie. Now, I do still love things about it. For one thing, the visuals are outstanding, from the CG to the cinematography and to the production design. The credit sequence of the movie is just these beautiful landscapes being shot, combined with this really beautiful score that ends up being the film's theme, and it looks amazing. And this was also a movie that was shot in 3D, and it was one of those movies that when it came out, it was something you had to see in 3D because it was so well done. I also love the production design, how not only does it look like the original Alien movie in terms of the ship, but it also brings back that classic H.R. Giger art style that I felt like was missing from Alien 3, Resurrection, and the AVP movies, because Both Alien and Aliens had that feel, whereas the other movies that followed didn't. A lot of the actors do a fair to good job. People like Idris Elba have some charisma, and among the A-list actors in this movie, they don't give bad performances, but the best one in this movie is Michael Fassbender as the android David. And in the opening scene, you get a clear sense of who David is. He's an android, but he's very childlike. The first time we're introduced to his character, he's just walking around the ship, playing basketball, riding a bike, watching Lawrence of Arabia. And for me, it's just the subtlety and innocence of his performance that makes this character really good. Even though it is kind of a shame that your most interesting character in the movie is not really human. But we'll get back to the human characters later on. I also do like the amount of thrills that it has. There are some moments in this movie that are truly intense. Not on the level of Alien or Aliens, but they're intense enough to get the job done. And probably the most intense and horrifying sequence in this movie is when the main character, played by Noomi Rapace, has to remove an alien that's about to hatch in her. It's not the chest burster. This is a different kind of alien. You see this machine cut her stomach open and grab the fetus from inside and then stitch her up. And you're just like, ew. And it's not one of those things where they just cut away and it's implied. They show it. They show it, and you just sit there cringing uncomfortably. So those are the things about the movie that I do love, and I will still defend as being really good things. Now let's talk about the bullshit. So, the big thing that kills this movie, and it's really just one element that kills it, are the characters. As I've said, the actors do a good job with what they're given. A lot of the A-listers, again, like Idris Elba, Charlize Theron, Michael Fassbender, and Noomi Rapace, do really good jobs with their roles. But the characters themselves just range from boring to fucking stupid. I argued about the characters in Alien Resurrection being stupid, but these make those characters look like fucking geniuses by comparison. Because in Alien Resurrection, you could give them a pass that they're space pirates, so they're really not the galaxy's best and brightest. These characters, on the other hand, are scientists going on a scientific expedition to another planet, so they should really know what they're getting into, or just kind of expect the unexpected, let's say that. And there's a scene before they go on their first expedition when this guard has a flamethrower. He's going to bring it with them on the expedition. And Noomi Rapace says, "This is a scientific expedition, no weapons." And you're like, whoa, wait. You're going to this cavern on an unknown planet, and you're not bringing any weapons? You don't know what's going to be down there. You're going to need something to protect yourselves. Like, I know if there are scientists that are going into the jungle, let's say, they're going to need some weapons to defend themselves if animals come and attack them. The thing that kills me is one of the scientists that tries to treat this snake-like alien as if it's a cat or a dog. I put a video of this on Instagram where I basically ranted about that scene as I was watching it. And, I mean, my Instagram video says it all. But basically, it's these two characters that are lost inside this giant cavern. The scientist tells the other guy to not touch anything and be careful. And then all of a sudden, the scientist who told the other guy don't touch anything sees this snake-like alien creature and goes, "So beautiful. It's okay. It's okay." And puts his hand out like he wants to pet it. And then the alien wraps itself around his arm, tightens, kills one of them, and then zombifies the other. So that was like the breaking point of character stupidity in this movie. The only character in this movie that's actually really smart is Charlize Theron as this executive for the Wayland Company, which is funny because the Alien movies have usually made a point of villainizing the company or corporate executives, and they do the same thing with Charlize Theron here. But she's actually the smartest of the bunch. There's a scene when one of the scientists gets infected and has a disease as they're coming back to the ship Prometheus. So Charlize Theron suits up, gets a flamethrower, and says, "You're not coming aboard my ship." And you side with her on there because these scientists are so fucking stupid that if she wasn't there to say, "No, you're not getting on my ship," everyone would have been infected. Now, granted, the scientist that was infected did ask to be burned alive. So, I guess that's a smart thing to say right there. It's like, well, I'm not coming on, just take my life. So yeah, Charlize Theron's character is probably the smartest in the movie. That being said, she's not without her dumb moment. When we get to the big climax of the movie, the alien ship crashes on the planet, and it starts falling like this way. So rather than Charlize Theron kind of sidestepping to get out of the way, she decides to run like this, and hope that it won't catch up with her. And even when I first saw this movie and loved it, I had big issues with that. Ugh. I'm without words for that. I guess I'll go to the one thing in the movie that even when I first saw it and loved it, I hated it. Guy Pearce as Peter Weyland. So Prometheus had this brilliant marketing campaign when it was coming out. Like all of these commercials about the future of the Weyland Company, a commercial for the David Android. These were all pretty genius ads that I'm sure you can find on YouTube. So when the movie actually comes out, I watched the whole thing going, wait a minute, where's Guy Pearce? And then when we get to the credits, it says Guy Pearce played Peter Weyland. I'm like, wait, the old man was Guy Pearce? It sucks that Guy Pearce was unrecognizable in the movie, but did they really have to fuck up with the old man makeup? Like, it is laughably bad, especially considering that this movie had a budget of over $100 million. Beautiful cinematography, amazing special effects, and wonderful production design. When you get to the physical makeup effects, it seems like that they just ran out of money and hired the same makeup artist who does Johnny Knoxville's old man makeup in Jackass. It's embarrassing to watch Guy Pearce in this movie with all of the old man prosthetics on his face. It is just... Ugh. Again, words don't describe it. You just kind of have to look at it yourself. And... So... Yeah, Prometheus. Not a fan of it so much anymore. I mean, again, I will say this. It is better than Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection. Not by a whole lot. And admittedly, the things that make this movie better than the others is the fact that it has really great production values behind it. Like I said, the cinematography, the production design, the visual effects. And one thing that I do kind of admire, and I say kind of, is that the engineers are basically the space jockeys from Alien. This movie does not flat out say what happened to the space jockey ship in Alien. This movie just introduces the race of space jockeys, and whatever happened to that space jockey in the original Alien, we can just make up what actually happened to him, and no movie has to ruin it, at least until the future Alien movies decide to do that, which I hope they don't. But back to Prometheus. I have the Blu-ray. I still will keep it because it is just one of those movies that it's so beautiful and so gorgeous that you could just push mute on it and let it play in the background. And it'll just be an amazing movie to look at. But it's hard to recommend. So if I had reviewed this movie back when it originally came out, I would have said get off your ass and go see it right now. But 5 years later, I'd say watch at your own risk. Some people really like this movie, and outside of the visual look, I do give it props for trying to be a more intellectual science fiction movie, and dealing with the ideas of faith and the different beliefs of many people when looking at one thing. But the characters are stupid. It does have some other problems here and there, and the Guy Pearce makeup is laughably bad. So, again, watch at your own risk. Better than Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, but nowhere near as good as Alien or Aliens. So that's my review for Prometheus and all of the Alien solo movies. Alien Covenant doesn't come out until the middle of May, so I'm excited but also skeptical for that movie. So I'm hoping for the best. And if you're new to this channel and wondering where my Alien and Aliens reviews are, I reviewed Alien back in October of 2014 and Aliens back in the summer of 2016. So you can definitely go find those reviews. Next week, we'll be doing a new retro series of reviews. I won't flat out say what it is. All I can say is that it features a bunch of characters who are rascals, scoundrels, villains, and knaves. And also, they're devils and black sheep, really, really bad eggs. Drink up, me hearties, yo-ho! You guys probably know what it is. So until next week, I hope you enjoyed this review. Leave a comment down below and tell me what your thoughts are on the movie, if and when you've seen it. And as always, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.